Hi, I'm Yasmin and welcome to the Discovering Destinations Travel podcast, where we talk about places from all over the world, preparing you for future holidays. Each week we'll speak to a guest about a specific travel destination that they have travelled to for people who are interested in the area. The guest will provide us with information about what is available for you to do there, how to pack accordingly, ways to travel, landmarks you can see there, and restaurants are accessible.
My opinion on travelling is that I love it.
I love it.
I absolutely love it.
I really love travelling because I get to experience new places. A lot of my working life is spent in an office looking at four walls and a window. So getting out and travelling and seeing the world is a fantastic way to spend my time. Not just seeing places, but meeting people, seeing different cultures, hearing different languages is a fantastic experience.
In my life, I've travelled to around 3 or 4 places.
15 places.
At least 8.
I've travelled to many places, difficult to count. I would say hundreds of places all over the world, mainly for work. So I've travelled to North America, where I've been to Chicago, New York. I've been to Brazil, Sao Paulo in Brazil. I've also been to Asia, where I went to Singapore. I've been to Hong Kong. I've been to China. I've also been to South Africa, and then I've travelled right across Europe into France, into Germany, into Spain, to Mallorca, to Italy. So I've travelled a lot, primarily for work, but also on family holidays.
When I travel, I usually travel with my family or my friends.
With my family.
Family.
When I go on holiday, I travel mainly with my family if it's for pleasure, which is my daughter, my 2 sons and my wife. For work, I travel with different work colleagues depending on the reason for travel. Generally, my experience with my family is fantastic, although they do have the odd dodgy day, and I always have a good time also with my work colleagues when I travel. It's much better travelling with people than travelling on your own.
When I first started travelling, I was around 2.
I was 1.
8.
I was very, very young. I was only 4 years old, and I can't really remember a lot of it. Just little bits like getting on the plane and getting off at the other end.
When I travel for holidays.
For holidays.
Holidays.
My main reason for travel is holidays and work. Those are the 2 main reasons that I travel.
My favourite place that I have travelled to so far is Portugal.
Turkey.
Switzerland.
But my favourite holiday travel experience is certainly with my family, especially when we go on a little adventure and travel to more than one countries. We may go on planes, boats, in cars, and it adds to the experience.
Richard went on a holiday trip to Venice a few years ago and is here to speak about his experiences on the holiday and provide us with information which he thinks is useful for people who are going on a tour trip to Venice. There are many things available for you to go do in Venice. Some of the things available include going on a gondola ride along the Grand Canal, going on a tour of the Doge Palace, and eating delicious food from different restaurants.
Recently, I went with my family to Venice. We had a fantastic time. We enjoyed a really nice apartment near the Rialto Bridge. We spent hours and hours walking the streets over the small bridges that cross the canals, some nice shopping, and every evening finding somewhere really, really nice to eat. Venice is great, full of culture. We did so much in Venice, but I really wish that I'd been to see the Venetian glass made on the islands of Murano. There they blow the glass, create the glass, some beautiful pieces, and then you can buy it, and I really, really wish we'd done that.
Packing is a key factor when going on holiday. You don't want to get to your destination and find out that you forgot your favourite shirt, or that your luggage has been lost, or that something spill all over your clothes, leaving you with nothing. To prevent this from happening, people have their own tips and secrets in being able to successfully bring their belongings on holiday.
I think it's very important to make sure you're prepared when you go to Venice and you pack well. Good walking shoes, you're going to do a lot of walking, and in the summer it can get very hot, so a good hat and some sunglasses. But make sure you pack light. You have to move around Venice, and even getting to your hotel, you have to drag your suitcases. There's no point in packing heavy suitcases. I remember once with a suitcase, it got lost on the flight, and it didn't turn up till a day later, so I had to spend a whole day without all of my clothes and belongings. So I would highly recommend taking some hand luggage on the flight to make sure you always have something and that you're prepared.
The easiest way to travel to Italy would be on plane. A trip from Manchester to Venice is only 2 hours and 15 minutes on the plane. Once you get to the airport, you will book a ride on a transport boat, allowing you to see amazing views as you enter Venice.
I love travelling, new experiences, especially with my family, seeing hot weather. I don't particularly like airports, but you've got to go through those to get there. Our experience when we travelled to Venice, flight was okay. And actually we had a nice water taxi take us from the airport directly to our hotel, which was a great experience. And I'd do it all again. There's nothing I would change. We were very, very well organised.
Venice is filled with amazing historical landmarks available for you to go visit.
When you're in Venice, it's just such a beautiful city. Its scale, complexity, the design of the buildings is really fantastic, and there's some great places to go. If you go to St Mark's Square, there is a tower there that you can go to the top of and get an aerial view of the city. The Basilica, which is the church in the square, is fantastic. I think I have a good sense of direction and I always know where I am. Unfortunately, one day we did get lost, and my family made sure that I knew that we were lost and it was all my fault. Even to this day, I don't think that that's the case.
When in Venice, you cannot settle for poor quality and should keep your expectations high when ordering pizza or pasta. Also, Venice is filled with restaurants, allowing you to have a view while eating your meal.
Every restaurant you go to in Venice is fantastic. There isn't a particular one that you need to go to. Just walk in and sit down, outside preferably if the weather's good, and make sure that you order the pasta. You're in Italy, you've got to eat pasta.
When you go on holiday, you want to make sure you pick the right place to stay. You want to pick somewhere big enough but not too expensive, and somewhere that has restaurants and places for you to go visit.
Finding a hotel in Venice was pretty easy. Just on the internet, have a look. We actually did an Airbnb apartment for the whole family. Just went online, found it, booked it, no problems at all. But it was quite expensive. It was about £100 a night, and we stayed there for 5 nights, so about £500 in total. It was the most fantastic place we stayed. We were overlooking the Rialto Bridge next to the Grand Canal. It was beyond all of our expectations, and this probably means that Venice was my favourite place to travel because of the location, all the different things going on, the food, the architecture and everything we saw.
Jet lag is a cost when you go on holiday, but there are always ways that you can help jet lag and make it more bearable.
Dealing with jet lag is not easy. You try and sleep on the plane, but it's always difficult. You get off the plane, you're in a different time zone, and usually you get home early in the morning, and all you want to do is go to sleep because your body thinks that it's the middle of the night. Best way to deal with it, however, is not to sleep, to power through the day, get to the end of the day and then go to bed and switch back into the time zone that you're in. When you go to Venice, however, you don't experience any jet lag whatsoever. It's only a 2-hour flight, and the time difference is only 1 hour between Europe and the UK, so you don't get any jet lag. But I have had experiences of bad jet lag when I've travelled from Asia, which was a 12-hour flight, or from Brazil, which is another 12-hour flight, even travelling from North America, which is a 5 or 6 hour flight. Because of the time difference, you get bad jet lag.
Going to a place like Venice can be quite pricey, so you need to ensure that you spend your money right.
The cost in Venice was pretty expensive. Just to buy a drink or get some food, the cost is quite high. Quite clearly, Venice is set up for tourists and they know that people are prepared to pay the money, therefore the cost is quite expensive. So in order to prepare, you have to save, and we saved for a number of months to give us the opportunity that when we went to Venice we weren't worried about spending some extra money. And when we were there, we spent the money on really enjoying ourselves with the food. We had a drink. What we didn't spend our money on was some of the expensive gifts that you can get in the gift shop. The best part of the holiday for me was being with my family and experiencing Venice with them. The excitement and the things to do, it was a really, really great family experience.
Before we come to the end, every podcast guest needs to share their holiday top tip. Rick, what is your top tip you have for us today?
And my top tip for people travelling: make sure you're organised, make sure you're prepared. When you go into a city, make sure you have a plan, an agenda, a map to make sure you get the most out of your holiday. You don't want to be wandering around with nothing to do because you don't know where to go. So make sure that you're organised.
That concludes this episode. Thank you to everyone listening, and I hope that you enjoyed hearing this discussion about a trip to Venice. I would also like to thank Richard Waite for joining this discussion today. If you want to learn more about Paris, France, then make sure to tune in to next week's episode that comes out Friday the 25th of February. And to the people who are going on a trip to Venice, I hope you have an amazing time.